My name is Steve, and welcome back to the Life and Sad Ending channel. And today we're going to talk about legendary actor Fred Gwynne. Fred was born in 1926 in New York City. Fred spent most of his youth in the South, and that's why in a lot of his roles, when he had a Southern accent, it came to him quite naturally. During World War II, Fred served in the United States Navy. After his war service, he attended Harvard University, and he studied theater and art, among other things. Though he wasn't quite as tall as Herman Munster, Fred Gwynne did stand 6 feet 6 inches tall. He was a good singer and sang in college with one of the groups there, and also appeared on Broadway, notably in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. Later, he appeared on a lot of shows coming up through the 50s in his acting career, like the Phil Silver Show. He co-starred with Al Lewis for the first time on Car 54 Where Are You?, playing Francis Muldoon. They were cop buddies, and it was a pretty funny show. Later, he co-starred again with Al Lewis on The Munsters, along with Yvonne DiCarlo and Butch Patrick and Pat Priest. They did 70 episodes of The Munsters, and it was a popular show, but once it had to go up head-to-head in the ratings with Batman, it did suffer and was eventually canceled. My favorite episode of The Munsters was the one where Herman turns normal looking, and they're all aghast at his appearance. I think it was called Just Another Pretty Face. That was really funny. Oh, and I just remembered Beverly Owen was the other Marilyn. I had read that Fred had actually worked in the 1950s as a salesman for the Seal Lock Burial Vault Company. Now that's funny. Of course, The Munsters was a fantastic and very popular show. Unfortunately, what happens to a lot of actors, Fred Gwynne was typecast as Herman. That's all you could see when you would see him, is Herman Munster. In fact, he had tried out for other roles on other shows and was going to take them until accidentally the director, I think it was Punky Brewster, he tried out for a part on that. And the director accidentally called him Herman Munster, and he just quit because he couldn't take it anymore. Of course, Fred did do a lot of films. One of his first, and it was an uncredited role, was in On the Waterfront with Marlon Brando. In the 1980s, after The Munsters, he also did Fatal Attraction, Pet Sematary, and The Boy Who Could Fly. But probably the most famous movie he did was in My Cousin Vinny with Joe Pesci. You know, in 1981, NBC offered Fred Gwynne a chance to come back and play Herman Munster in a TV movie. And Fred just didn't like the idea. I mean, it was ridiculous. He was being typecast for that anyway. So he turned them down until he found out how much they were going to pay him. And then he decided to do The Munsters of Revenge. And you know, Fred was a man of many talents. Besides singing and acting, and he was also a writer. He wrote children's books, and he had 9 published. Fred Gwynne was married twice, and he had 5 children. And I read that he had a son, Dylan, born in 1960, who drowned in 1963, which that's always a terrible story, and you hear that so often. Sadly, on July 2nd, 1993, Fred Gwynne died from pancreatic cancer at his home in Maryland. He was only 66 years old. For unknown reasons, Fred Gwynne was laid to rest in an unmarked grave in the Sandy Mount United Methodist Church Cemetery in Finksburg, Maryland. Do you remember Fred Gwynne? What was your favorite Munsters episode? Please leave it in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, unless I come to my own sad ending.